This is Top 30.
Welcome to the show. I'm Richard Bacon.
And I'm Kristen Smith. We have 30 stories in 30 minutes, so let's get started. It was recently alleged that the data analytics firm Cambridge Analytica improperly mined the private information of 50 million Facebook users in an apparent data breach. And now some people are wondering how they can better protect their own Facebook profiles to safeguard their private information. The first thing you can do is check through your Facebook apps. Anytime you've used Facebook to log into a third-party app, you may have given those apps access to some of your personal info without even realizing it. On Facebook, go to the settings page and then the apps tab to see which permissions you've granted to each app. And you can delete the apps you no longer use. Second, update your privacy settings. You can adjust the audiences for your posts and limit what information you share publicly. And third, clear your browsing data. Periodically deleting your search history can clear out any cookies and trackers that may be following you around the internet. Of course, remember to always be cautious and aware about what personal information you're putting online.
Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with your friend and mine, Nicole Patlides. Nicole, I hear that Walmart has made moves to improve its shipping service.
That's right, Richard. Get ready to see more FedEx office sites at your local Walmart. The rollout of 500 locations will happen over the next 2 years. The partnership could be a win for both companies. American Airlines promised travelers free seats, but it turns out it was a mistake. A spokesperson said the tweet was meant to be a direct response to a traveler asking about advanced seat assignments. Reactions on Twitter were mixed, but users were overall excited about the prospect of not having to pay to fly. Calling all innovators, Starbucks has launched a $10 million initiative with the goal to design an eco-friendly coffee cup.
Nicole, some Starbucks cups are already made of paper. So what exactly is the issue?
It's actually the cup's lining. Starbucks paper cups currently are made with 10% post-consumer recycled fiber. Get this, the company says its customers use 6 billion paper and plastic cups annually.
That is a staggering number. Nicole, in New York, thank you.
The Austin bomber blew himself up with an explosive device while inside his car on Wednesday as the SWAT team moved in on him. Using evidence gathered from a FedEx store from which 2 of the packages were shipped, authorities were able to zero in on the serial bomber, identified as 24-year-old Mark Anthony Condit. And a security breach at the travel website Orbitz may have compromised the payment and credit card info of 880,000 customers. The incident likely happened between January 2016 and December 2017, and the company is offering a free year of credit monitoring and identity protection to those affected. And you can call him Sir Ringo Starr. The 77-year-old Beatles drummer was knighted by Prince William this week at Buckingham Palace. Ringo joked that he plans to wear his medal to breakfast. Well, it is a special day here on Top 30. We have figure skating legend, commentator, and author Scott Hamilton in the studio with us today. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited about this book. It's called Finish First, Winning Changes Everything. I know the big debate right now is participation trophies.
Yeah. Well, I think it's honestly a parental choice. I don't believe in it so much. When my son got into hockey, he lost his 2 games really bad. And I go, whoa, let's just break this down. What did you learn today? And he goes, well, I got to skate better, stick handle better, I got to get my shot up. And I said, what would you have learned if you won? And he said, I don't know. So if we can look at failure as a teacher, if we can look at failure as information, if we can just take that ugly, horrible face-off failure and use it as a way to inspire us to kind of like, rise up and be better than we were before, we got to fail. We've got to test our limits and we've got to learn from it.
You have been through a number of hurdles, medical challenges. Do you have a new lease on life?
I think whatever importance you give it is kind of going to be the identity of it. Honestly, whatever's going on today, it's just today, and tomorrow will be different.
What advice do you have for anyone to kind of rock what they're into and win at life?
Every great victory is built on a foundation of countless small victories.
Yeah.
And they're just in these decisions we make every day.
Scott, it has been my pleasure to hang out with you today. Thank you for coming in.
Awesome.
And you guys, get the book. It's a page turner. Trust me, you'll finish it in a day. It's available right now in bookstores and online.
Welcome back to Top 30. A study found 1 in 3 young adults ride in cars with impaired drivers that include friends and parents. Researchers talked to more than 2,000 kids over the 2 years after they graduated high school. 23% of drivers were marijuana impaired, 20% alcohol impaired, and 6% illicit drug impaired. I guess you've got to think that, you know, with marijuana being legalized in a lot of places now, that this is going to be a growing area.
Yeah,
a dangerous area.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think the study is important for parents to look at for a couple reasons. I mean, for one, we're used to educating our children and thinking about how important it is to tell people not to drink and drive.
Yeah.
But not as much emphasis, I don't think, is put on riding with someone who may be impaired in some way. Because if someone says, hey, I'm okay to drive, you just believe them.
Yeah, it's kind of frightening as a parent, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because your kid can behave responsibly but still get caught up in a terrible crash caused by a drunk driver.
There's a different world now where you can easily get a ride, you know, by just having an app. So hopefully, you know, we can educate our children and fix this solution one family at a time.
It does make it incredibly easy to get a lift home.
So easy.
And you wonder if these numbers will come down over the next couple of years.
Now to the changing landscape of media. For the first time ever, more than half of the households in the U.S. subscribe to at least one streaming service, like Netflix, Hulu, or Amazon. That number is now at 55%, up from just 10% in 2009. And there's actually a phrase for this, and it's cord cutting, and I have to say I am a cord cutter. I have not paid for cable TV in a very long time because I have Apple TV. And I think that's very common nowadays for people to just rely on their phones and things where you just pay a one-time payment and then you can get
Look, it's a revolution in television. Regular television is over.
Revolution.
You know, it is, look, 450% surge in less than a decade is absolutely incredible as a number. 54% said they're doing it because of original content. So that investment they've made, it really works. And now they are putting, I think it's a wild amount of money, billions and billions into original content. And it's completely changing television.
It is. You know, when I see a commercial, when I watch a show with a commercial, I'm like, oh,
where'd that come from?
What's that? You know what I mean?
I know.
Just sometimes because I watch well, I don't watch a lot of TV.
Well, we very much hope you enjoy our commercials. It's essential to our business plan. Don't go skipping them. Here is a story about an item that you don't see very often anymore. Payphones. In 1999, there were 2 million payphones across the country, but did you know there are still about 100,000? Another minor revolution in a way, that you go from 2 million to 100,000 over the course of 19 years.
I thought they were just for decor now, just to have like a vintage touch on a street corner. Just keep a good old payphone.
Now you carry your own phone around with you. Somehow the idea of actually like picking up a phone that a stranger's been using, it's like, you know what I mean? You're like,
so when do we use payphones? In hospitals when service is limited. Also during natural disasters, they see an uptick in the use of payphones. So there is a time and place for payphones in which you cannot get cell service.
Emergencies. There are times in emergencies.
Right.
That's true. I mean, if you get a massive emergency in the centre of a city, very often cell service goes down altogether, doesn't it?
And then you'd be grateful for that dirty phone that you have.
The problem is they're not very looked after. You pick them up and you see they've got germs all over them.
You have to have change.
Which often it doesn't accept and like drop out the bottom again. There's that beep beep noise, and then when you make a connection, the line is often terrible. They deserve to die. Top 30, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Top 30. Some police departments are trying to find suspects issuing search warrants to Google. A reporter in North Carolina found 4 cases where police asked the company for the location of every single person using a Google Apple device near a crime scene.
Yeah, so of course various legal and privacy advocates are saying, whoa, 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 slow your roll. They believe the warrants didn't establish probable cause. You know, I love the example that Raleigh defense attorney Steven Saad said, and here's a direct quote from him.
Did he say, slow your roll?
That was a Kristen Smith original.
I like it.
He said, if you know a crime was committed in an area and you have no information on a suspect, would you allow for them to go through every house in the neighborhood? Of course not.
The privacy side of this just doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
So if somebody was carrying with them a location-enabled device in their pocket, it just so happens that technology up in space and on servers will have recorded who was in that exact spot at that exact moment. Why not use it?
Yeah, and I understand that point, where we all try and use hacks to make our life easier.
Yeah, I get the arguments against it, but I quite like it.
You like it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's why it's debatable.
Exactly.
Well,
We're having that debate.
Staying on technology, there's a new app, a dating app, that doesn't use profile pictures. Instead, users find a match based on the person's voice. So the app is called Waving, and it asks how far away it should look for matches and what age range you're looking for. Then you set up a profile by recording your voice. I don't like it. I have a super low voice. I mean, I told you before, the drive-through people think I'm a man, and I'm okay with it, you know?
I mean, it's fun because you don't upload your hobbies or your photo. You just put a voice file on that, but within that, you're allowed to say anything. So you can then say, well, here are my hobbies and my interests. I think it would make a better television dating show than an app.
Yeah. Okay, just by hearing their voice, and then you pick someone, but we can see who they are as a viewer. I like that.
Yeah, I like it.
You better get on that before someone watching steals it.
Don't write that down. That is my intellectual property, and I'm leaving Top 30 because I have a new gig to host. Bye-bye. Kristen will be back after this.
In today's Hometown Stories from KTVU, Evelyn Kilgore from Napa, California, may be 92 years old, but that hasn't stopped her from smashing world records. Evelyn took up competitive weightlifting, and she's in a class of her own, literally. She's the only competitor in her age and weight division. That means she gets to set the bar and also get the glory. Evelyn set the state, national, and world records for the deadlift in the 90 to 95-year-old age category. So what's her advice on how to stay active?
Get up and move.
In our second story from Fox 9 Minneapolis, the band OK Go might be best known for their hit song, Here We Go Again, but it's their visually inventive music videos that have caught the attention of educators. In one, they set off an elaborate chain reaction that coincides with the beat of their music. In another, they slow down a 4-second shot into a 4-minute music video. And now they are partnering with St. Thomas University in St. Paul to launch the website OK Go Sandbox, an interactive tool for teachers to inspire creativity in math and science education. Our final story from Fox 10 Phoenix. When Sean Marsicane was serving in Afghanistan, he made a very special friend, a stray doggy named Apollo. Apollo was thin and hungry when he wandered onto the camp, and Sean helped bring him back to health. The two forged a deep connection during his deployment. So when Sean returned from Afghanistan in December, he partnered with the organization Puppy Rescue Mission to bring Apollo to the United States. And 3 months later, the two pals were reunited. Now it's time for this week's Page Six Fix with Elizabeth Wagmeister. Elizabeth, what do you have for us this week?
Well, Kristen, how does one cope with the breakup? You get a neck tattoo, of course. Zayn Malik, who recently split from his girlfriend Gigi Hadid, posted pictures of himself getting a tattoo on the front of his neck and a black rose on the other side. In addition to new tattoos, he's also moved into his new Soho penthouse, which cost him just over a cool $10 million. But he's not the only star dropping big bucks. With her mom and dad by her side, 6-year-old Blue Ivy was seen at an art auction bidding $19,000 for a painting. But she was no match for Tyler Perry, who outbid her for the portrait. However, mom Beyonce did walk away with a pair of Lorraine Shorts earrings for $17,000. And finally, it looks like the bad blood between Rob Kardashian and Blac Chyna might be subsiding for now. Chyna posted a pic of them with baby Dream, wishing him a happy birthday. Meanwhile, Rob ended up celebrating his birthday at mom Kris Jenner's house with some St. Patrick's Day treats. And that's this week's Page Six Fix. See you next time.
Great stuff. Thanks, Elizabeth. And for more news and gossip, watch Page Six TV weekdays. Check your local listings.
An African-American woman's name was literally left out of history. Then the internet got involved. Candace Jean Anderson was writing a book about the Marine Mammal Protection Act. In her research materials, there was a photo of a scientific conference in 1971. Of the 38 people in the photo, only one was female. She was also the only person not named in the caption. Anderson turned to Twitter for answers. Hundreds of people replied and retweeted. One of them was Margot Lee Shelterly. She's the author of the book Hidden Figures, about African-American women contributing to the space race. Shelterly told the New York Times, "Here's a working scientist contributing alongside her colleagues, and she's not even given the professional courtesy of having her name recorded." Amateur researchers began combing through archives. One had a contact at the Smithsonian who not only knew the woman, but worked with her. She remembered Sheila Miner Huff as an excellent technician. Today, Huff is a retired grandmother of 5 who wasn't bothered by having her name forgotten. She said, "When I try to do good, does it matter that anybody knows my name?" Well, Twitter and many other people think it does.
Cam Newton, the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, has developed a sweet tradition after he scores a touchdown. Paige Failing from Fox 46 in Charlotte tells us the story behind it. Hey, Paige.
Kristen, you probably remember Cam, right, for his dab, but he's also made quite a name for himself, giving away game balls to the tiniest football fans in the end zone. Talking with the Boy Scouts of America Values Luncheon recently, Cam said when he actually first started his NFL career, one thing he most looked forward to was celebrating his touchdowns. But his then offensive coordinator, Mike Shula, was not such a fan of those attention-grabbing moves. Instead, he said, why don't you turn the celebration into something the team now calls the Sunday giveaway, where he gives the ball away to a kid in the end zone, and it's actually turned into one of Cam's favorite traditions. He says sometimes he even sees these little ones with tears in their eyes when they get one of these coveted game balls. By the way, the end zone could be a little more crowded this year. His girlfriend, Kia Proctor, revealing recently on Instagram she is pregnant with the couple's 3rd baby, and by the looks of it, this little one will be joining his older siblings definitely in time for football season this fall.
Aw, congrats to Cam and his very cute family. Thanks, Paige. Winter blues, or seasonal depression, affects millions of people every year. Things like music and indoor plants have been proven to boost your mood and improve your health. Which is why we've got today's top 30 solution, an LED music planter at a special 60% discount. This wireless music player can hold your favorite plant and play your favorite song from any Bluetooth-connected device. You just tap the pot and music from your phone will play. The LED music player also keeps your plants warm to help maximize growth. It has a cool night light too and doesn't even need to be plugged in, so you can keep it anywhere. The LED music planter retails for $49.99, but today you can buy it for just $19.99. That's a 60% discount, and you can get this right now at luluway.com while they last.
The federal government in Canada, along with the provinces of Ontario and Quebec, are investing $200 million on research labs for 5G technology. 5G stands for 5th generation, and it's the term used for wireless broadband technology. Or in layman's terms, it determines the coverage and speed at which your cell phones will work. With the innovation of a 5G cellular wireless network, Canadians could see download speeds 100 times faster than current ones. In addition, a group of private investors led by Ericsson Canada will match the $200 million, bringing the total to $400 million. The country's 3 national wireless carriers, Rogers, BCE and TELUS, are also testing 5G networks while working to improve the current 4G. Exciting, but the 5G technology isn't expected to be available for commercial use until 2020.
Ebony Rhodes was working at a discount store in Atlanta, but she didn't earn enough money to make ends meet, so the single mom and her 4 children were forced to live in their car, a 1997 Buick Regal. It wasn't ideal by any means, and Rhodes felt guilty, but she couldn't find a shelter that would take in her entire family. Then one day, while she was on the way to the library with her kids so they could study, she was pulled over by an Atlanta police officer for expired tags. She was arrested, and the car was impounded. APD Deputy Chief Jeff Glazier got wind of Rhodes' situation and wanted to help. He called a friend at a local family shelter and was able to get Rhodes and her children in. But Glazier wanted to do even more for the family. So he and his fellow officers at the Atlanta Police Department set up a GoFundMe page to help get Rhodes and her family back on their feet. They raised enough money to help cover rent, food, and transportation. And now Rhodes can rest easy knowing her kids have a roof over their heads. It turns out Game of Thrones has just been dethroned as the most expensive show on television. Jason Matheson, host of The Jason Show on Fox 9 in Minneapolis, tells us more about who took the crown. Hey, Jason.
Hey, Kristen. Well, remember the good old days, you know, like last year when people thought Game of Thrones was expensive at $15 million an episode for HBO? Well, get ready for this. Amazon, bloop, just went to the bank for $500 million. That's what they're paying for a new Lord of the Rings series. It will be a prequel series and very expensive. And here's another thing to make you go, what? $250 million of the $500 million went just for the rights to the characters. No launch date. We don't know exactly what it's going to be about. All we know is it's going to be very expensive. Very. Kristen?
Yeah, very expensive is putting it mildly. Thanks, Jason.
And here is what's coming up on the next show. The NFL could be getting some competition. A new football league is set to begin playing as early as next year, and the teams will be announced soon. Plus, new research shows the surprising ways millennials of today compare to their grandparents 50 years ago. And Top 30 talks to an engineering student who created a prosthetic for dogs while still in high school. Top 30 also covers more of the day's stories live on Facebook daily at 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern. It's all coming up on the next Top 30.